Tonight's debate will be divided into 4 segments, each of 20 minutes. The first 3 segments will revolve around broad issues in the county, namely business environment, living and working in Nairobi, and fitness to be governor. These are areas that have been communicated to the candidates, even though the questions were not given to them. The 4th segment that will be audience-driven will incorporate questions from any of the first 3. Now, these are the rules of the debate for tonight. Each candidate, in that order of ballot, will have 90 seconds of an opening statement. Then, for every question that the moderator will pose, the candidates will have 2 minutes to answer. If there is a rebuttal, that is, if you are mentioned by any of the other candidates and you need to respond, I will give you 1 minute to do that. And then there will also be 1 minute for follow-up questions in case anything is not clear. In case you go over your time, you will hear this sound. Thank you very much. And so in order of the ballot, we will begin with Mr. Miguna. Miguna, your opening statement, sir.
The majestic people of Nairobi, fellow citizens and patriots, we are at a juncture in our history when we have to make a very momentous decision. If we make the right decision, Nairobi will rise and will prosper and will be like any other major city in the world, like Hong Kong or New York or Toronto or Geneva or any other metropole. You make the wrong choice, you are stuck with the garbage that we are experiencing, with the water shortages that we are experiencing now, and with the unemployment at 75% that we are experiencing now, with buildings falling on citizens, and with citizens being killed by the Kanjos, and therefore we got the Kanjo kingdom. Make the right decision. Leadership is about vision and about integrity. Miguna has both vision and integrity. And Miguna is the only candidate among the other 3, the 4th one, with a manifesto. These leaders have come here empty-handed. They would want to make promises that have not been concretized in writing. Reject the cartels. Thank you.
All right, I will need to remind the audience that we pledge to remain silent and to listen to the candidates so that we can interrogate what they have to say. Mr. PeterK, the opening statement, please.
Thank you, Joe. I've been in public service for over 15 years, performed diligently with a track record, did what I could have probably done best for my constituency. I am born and bred in Nairobi, lived in Nairobi all my life. I've seen when services worked in our city, when everything was possible, but we've allowed the rot to get into our city. Nairobi is too important a city. With 50% of our GDP of the whole country in Nairobi, it requires a serious manager with a proven track record. A manager who will not just implement, but will oversee the next phase of Nairobi as the population continues to increase. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Sonko.
Thank you very much. Nairobi is the capital city of the Republic of Kenya. As my brother PeterK has said, it controls the 60% of our GDP. Nairobians are the highest taxpayers in East and Central Africa. They deserve to have good roads. They deserve to have a clean city. They deserve to have a city that has no traffic congestion. They deserve to have a city that has no water shortage. The only problem hindering the development in our great county of Nairobi is number 1, corruption, number 2, corruption, number 3, corruption. I want to tell the great people of Nairobi, had they known what had transpired in Mumias in 2012, 2013, they would not have voted for my brother here, Evans Kidero, as their governor. Nairobi, we need a mature leadership, a leadership that is ready to fight cartels. I've been the senator for the last 5 years. I have engaged, I have discharged my constitutional duties, and in my oversight role as the senator of this great county, I did thorough investigations and found that my brother here, Evans Kidero, messed up this county. The cartel that fleeced Mumias sugar landed in our great county, the same cartel network.
Your time is up, Mr. Sonko. Mr. Kidero, please.
Yeah. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As you know, my name is Dr. Evans Odhiambo Kidero. Was born in this city, grew up in this city, went to public schools, all through up to university. I'm a father, married to one wife, Dr. Susan Boya Kidero, 3 children, 2 great granddaughters. I love this city because I've always lived and worked here. And that's the reason why I requested you to elect me as governor in the year 2013. When I got into City Hall, I found it was a hole and a gutter with myriads and multiples of challenges, but also, as is written in the book of Ezekiel, on the Eastern Gate, lots of cartels. I have done the much I can. We have laid a foundation on which we are ready to take off, and I can assure you that I now know where all the potholes are, and I'm asking Nairobians to give me an opportunity to build on the foundations that I've laid.
Mr. Sonko mentioned you very specifically. Would you want to respond to his comments about you?
I think he said about 2012, 2013. I left Mumias in 2012. I wasn't in Mumias in 2013. But you'll recall I got into Mumias in 2003, a year when they'd made a loss of 500 million shillings. For the 9 years I was there, I made a total profit of 14.5 billion shillings. When I left, the management took their eyes off the ball. And as you know, you can't make ugali unless you have unga. And they took their eyes off the ball. They stopped cane production. And you can't make sugar without cane. And to that effect, they have not been able to have anything to sell, hence the losses that accrued. And this happened after I left.
Mr. Miguna, you never finish a talk or a tweet without talking about cartels. Some cartels that you say exist in the county government. Who are these cartels and how exactly do you propose to dismantle them?
Mr. Ageo, first of all, I have to correct you. I think that is wrong. There are a lot of tweets that I have just talked about, other things other than the cartels. But yes, cartels are central to the problems of Nairobi. And the 3 colleagues of mine actually are part of the cartels that I want to deal with. I will tell you who the cartels are. The cartels are people who have made money through shady business deals. My friend Evans Kidero has made his billions through shady deals. There is no industry he has built, but he has become a billionaire having been an employee throughout his life because he has looted every institution he has joined. Mumias has collapsed, and Nairobi is not a going concern anymore, according to the Auditor General. My friend Sonko is looting every land in Nairobi. He has a criminal record from Mombasa where he was jailed because of fraud, forgery, and drug dealing. Then he ran away from jail. So he's a cartel because he has a criminal record. And right now, he's grabbed many pieces of land and then stages a PR show, PR stunts, where he videotapes and pretends that he's come to rescue. My friend PeterK bankrupted Kenya Re. He basically looted a public institution to death. And when he was in Gatanga, he never promoted a motion in parliament, never sponsored a bill, never chaired a committee of parliament. Then here he is saying we need a manager. Nairobi need a leader, not a manager. I will hire managers to deal with different sectors, competent, ethical managers. And these 3 represent the worst of our country, where you make money in shady deals, and because of those money, that money that you've made, and because you can give handouts, you are considered a manager. A manager of corruption is not a leader.
Mr. Miguna, I will give each one of them time to respond, but I want to know specifically, if indeed what you were saying is true, how would you as Miguna deal with this? Because you haven't said how you propose to dismantle all of these things.
Give me 2 minutes and I finished exactly in 2 minutes. So let me answer you. Number one, I am not corrupt. So leadership has to present integrity. If I'm not corrupt, and I am not corrupt, I've never been involved in any shady deal, therefore I will not be corrupt, but these guys are corrupt. Two, I will initiate a forensic audit of all deals, all transactions, all money payments, from the time the county was formed and Evans Kidero started looting it up to now. And the basis of that will be Auditor General's reports. I've compiled them, I've gone through them meticulously with a tooth comb.
And then what?
And then you seize the assets that have been...
As the county government, you seize the assets?
Yes, you
have powers to do that?
you can. As a county government with the authority to preside over public resources, you initiate the process of getting back your assets that have been looted. So you take the evidence. You see, the problem with the judiciary right now is that even if you get a good judge, you cannot tender impeccable evidence because
so in
it has
the
been
end,
tainted.
you depend on the judiciary to deal with it?
I did not say that. I said I first depend on myself because I'm not corrupt. Number two, there will be a forensic audit done. Then we will identify who has stolen, where they have stolen, how much they have stolen. And I've told you that there have already been reports. The two of them have been named by the EACC.
What will you do, Mr. Miguna?
I have told you.
After you have done all these things, you take it to the judiciary and then
No,
what?
no. Number one, Mr. Ageo, if you are listening correctly, if you are listening correctly, you will know that cartels will not do business with me. Then the cartels will be identified. You see, right now, we are talking of cartels, and I've only identified the 3 people here. But there are many more that are dealing with them. You identify them, you expose them, you produce evidence, you seize assets, they are prosecuted. That's work. Right now, it is not happening.
Mr. Kenneth, you've been mentioned very specifically by Mr. Miguna.
I think I like the energy in which he likes describing cartels when he really does not understand what cartels are. And when you try to get a solution of how he will handle cartels, obviously he's not able. He has specifically mentioned 2 items. Let me start with the first one. I left Kenya Re with my shoulders high, very proud of the work that I did. Kenya Re has never been bankrupted by anybody. I prepared Kenya Re into the stock exchange. It's a public listed company. I left there 15 years ago. I've never heard of a single accusation or problems emanating from Kenya Re. It's a public quoted company. If he had done a little of research, he would have known that the company that went under was Kenya National Assurance. The company that had issues was Kenya National Assurance. I've heard him say,
Your time is up.
allow me to just say 2 other things. I've heard him say that I actually tried to sell Kenya Re when I was the MD, many times, because he prefers to campaign on his Twitter handle rather than the grassroots. Let me make it very clear and put it on record. I actually went to court using Senator Anyang' Nyong'o, who is alive today, to stop the sale of Kenya Re, and you can confirm that with him. On Gatanga, because he does not seem to understand our laws, he's a senior barrister, as he says, from Toronto. As an assistant minister in the government, I am not supposed to introduce any motion other than government motion. It is good for him to look at the old constitution,
all right,
for him to
Mr.
see
Kenneth,
that he's completely out of order in insisting on something.
You get another round, Mr. Sonko.
And I will want to get another round to,
Thank you.
to correct
Yes,
You need correction.
Yes, Miguna, there is only one moderator. Thank you. Mr. Sonko.
I think, Mr. Ageo, we need protection from you as the host of this show, because Mr. Miguna has always been intimidating leaders through insulting us. He's just basing his allegations based on hearsay evidence. He's always been terming me as a drug dealer. He has never tabled documents to prove his allegations beyond reasonable doubts. We have families, we have children who are watching this show, we have supporters who are watching this show. Can you kindly ask him to table his evidence? If I've either been...
Is there?
Yeah, he should do that. I know he's an international barrister based in Canada. He does not understand the problems Nairobians are facing. I mean, it is a matter of dealing with allegations. There was some allegations just a few weeks ago. I respect women who are in this hall. I respect all the women in Nairobi County and in the entire country as a whole, in general. There was an allegation by one of your dailies, the Nairobian, that his daughter is selling her body in Canada through the social media.
Mr. Sonko,
Can you also substantiate on this? Are these true claims?
Okay, let's go to Mr. Kidero.
Joe, thank you very much. I think
and we'd like to remind the audience that as we have pledged at the start, please let the candidates have their time and let's not jeer, heckle, or do any other thing that will disrupt this debate.
I believe my 2 minutes starts now, Joe.
Yes, it does.
Could we put some objectivity into this discussion if we are going to give some substance and ground for Nairobians to choose a good governor? Mr. Miguna talks about arresting people. He talks about seizing of assets. We've got institutions that the Constitution has given the responsibility. We have the CID, they have the anti-corruption, we have the money laundering and asset recovery, and we have KRA. From his discussion of his presentation, he's just not going to be a governor of Nairobi. He's going to be all the four, which he can't do. So at this particular moment, if he has any evidence, I think let him present it to the responsible constitutional body to do what they need to do. Today we were at State House. We were receiving ambulances which have been bought by fines.